Hello YouTube, and in this video we're going to be showing you how to improve your Minecraft economy with the 1.14 trading system. So right now we're in the survival world here on the Java edition, overlooking the city here. In case you haven't seen any of the previous videos that I've posted, there are essentially 6 beacons over in the middle of the city that does give you special powers within a 50 block radius. Let me show you that here right now. So we have the jumping, we got speed. That jumping allows us to jump over fences, and of course with the haste we have the ability to harvest resources easily. So essentially most of our buildings are within this 50 block radius, including those trees over there. With the jungle trees and the scaffolding, you just climb up to the top of those trees and you harvest your way down pretty quickly using those buffs. So over here we have the first redstone contraption that we've made for a paper farm. Essentially we have a bunch of pistons attached to these sugar canes here, and then once this daylight mechanism lights up during the beginning of the day, that's once every 20 minutes, it will push the sugar canes here into the hopper line, and that hopper line moves here throughout the rest of the city to gather our supplies. So overall this redstone contraption is very expensive when it comes to materials. You have to use a bunch of redstone dust along with cobblestone or stone, and then you're going to have to also use wood and iron. So with the changes here to the trading, it is easier to obtain that. Let me show you the first contraption we have here. This is a iron golem crusher. So as you can see here, it's going to suffocate the victim, and with this water channel it's going to carry them to this spot here. Let me show you how this works using a lead. So with the 1.14 update, there are more iron golems spawning than beforehand, but essentially this is the only way to kill the iron golems without provoking any aggro. So they changed the aggro in the 1.14 so that you can no longer hit or kill any iron golems. You cannot defend yourself beforehand, which kind of sucks. You can't log off and log back on to remove that aggro. The only way to get rid of that is to trade with the villagers. Specifically, you would trade with their top tier item. And once you do that, that will slowly decrease the bad reputation you have in the village. It may take several days to do that, and then that will also increase some of the villager pricing. So let's take a look into the trade options here throughout the city. We do have several redstone automatic farming to show as well. But the first item we have here are the fishermen. They're a little bit difficult to level up in the beginning. The string is kind of expensive compared to some of the other villagers. The coal isn't too bad, especially if you've done a charcoal conversion process with wood. Once you get that, you have the ability to trade the fish in. That can be a little bit difficult unless you have access to a automatic fishing farm, or if you have a guardian farm. But once you get some of those trade items here, you're going to have access to the top tier item, the acacia boat. There's different boats, but essentially it's a cheap trade item to trade with for just wood. Over here, you got the Fletchers. They're pretty easy to set up trade with. They do need a lot of wood to trade the sticks, and then afterwards it becomes a little bit difficult to trade flint in or to trade for bows, but some of the later trade items with them are pretty good. You got the string that we mentioned before, feathers, which you can easily get from a chicken farm. And then with these Fletchers, you're going to get access to some of the specialty arrows, which are very difficult to get in the Java edition. Each one offers a different type of specialty arrow. Okay, so let's move along here. The armor smith, weaponsmith, and toolsmiths are a little bit harder to trade. The beginning trades are not that good, so you have to trade a lot of emeralds for useless iron just to increase this experience a little bit. Let me show you some of the top tier trade items that you get with those guys. So with them you get access to diamond and iron weapons. The enchantments are kind of low grade. Over here we got the diamond chest plate as well. Then over here you got some of the specialty tools. You can trade coal with this guy here. I don't like trading iron at all, but some people like to do that. Over here you got the leather guy. It tends to be better to trade leather for books with the librarians, but you can, if you need the saddles here, you can trade the leather pretty cheaply. And then let's move on to the next guy. Over here you got the butcher. That's pretty easy to trade with. You just trade chicken, and then later on they're going to expand their trade items here. They also trade with kelp blocks, which is fairly interesting. Let me show you something about these villagers here. I don't have any chicken. Let me get that here. With these animal farms, you get more by using a looting weapon. Down here you have a chicken farm, an automatic chicken farm that's also used for eggs, feathers, and the chicken meat. That's attached over here to a egg spawner. Let me show you some of the redstone contraptions for that one, because this has been fairly complicated. So you got two pistons here on both sides to suffocate the chickens. You don't use too many pistons because you don't want to lose too many chickens. You got a comparator delay circuit here. It will circulate the signal, and it gets progressively weaker because it takes one redstone tick to go through this guy here. And then you have the daylight sensor that we showed you beforehand. That does activate. Over here we got some dye farming here with the cacti. Going back to the chicken farms, you have that ledge that we saw above connected to a bunch of hoppers underneath it. And then this is powered through redstone circuitry with the droppers down below. Droppers being a cheaper trade item to get. Not trade item, a construction item. They're easier to construct compared to these hoppers. Hoppers use a lot of iron. And then we have a filter design that we can't really quite explain. This was developed by another YouTuber here, but essentially you're using a filter here to bring out the feathers and the chickens. Use comparator signals here to accomplish that. And then we got a vertical dropper system here that will move the eggs from the filter system up over here. So show you some of the trading that can go on here with the butchers. So you don't get as much experience here with the top tier items. I'm sorry, the first tier items compared to some of the other items. So we're going to trade beef with this guy here. So that gives you more experience points than the chicken. But let me finish this out here. And then of course you do have limited trade deals. Okay. And then once you level them up, you do get access to their top tier trade item. Okay, very neat. Yeah, move on here with the rest of the trading. Over here we have a very simple wool trade. Basically you have a bunch of water in a circuit with grass in the middle. Over here you have a automated dispenser system with the shears that will shear the wool off of them, and that will drop into the hoppers here and feed it into the chest. So this is actually a pretty good early trade system here. It's fairly cheap when you're trading with the villagers. They only need 18 blocks of that. They do need different colored wool, but once you go through the first two trade deals here, you do gain more access to some of the other trade deals. You do have the ability to trade with dyes. This is really cheap because the red dye you can get from the rose bush and with some bone meal. The top tier trade item is with the painting. So over here we have a semi-automatic wheat farm. The way that this works is that you have these dispensers controlled by using water. And then over here you have these dispensers controlled by bone meal. So with the bone meal, this will quickly grow your crops. So this is a very quick way of grinding your materials, since that water will splash these guys onto these hoppers here, which will deposit into your chest. So this semi-automatic farm is much faster than the automatic farm that I've developed here with the farmers trapped underneath. And then of course with some of the crops, especially with the potatoes and carrots, you can increase your yield using a fortune pickaxe. With beets, it works a little bit different because it just gives you more beetroot seeds, which really isn't that important. So we're going to flood this guy here with some water. And then we're going to scoop up these guys, these beetroots here. Okay, so let me drop this off here. Now with the farmers, it is fairly easy to trade with them. They do have a wide variation in the beginning stages. They offer wheat, carrots, potatoes, and beets. Once you get the beginning trades done, you're going to get the ability to trade with the pumpkins and melons, and that will level them up very quickly. So this is good to get access to the golden carrots and the golden melons for your potions. Overall, it's a very good trade source right there. Let me put the fortune pickaxe right back. And then over here we have a very good idea with the banking system. With the bankers here, we have pretty good exchange rates, trading the emeralds away for redstone dust, lapis lazuli, and that glowstone. So let me do that here right now. And then, of course, with the clerics, you can trade rotten flesh. It's actually hard to get unless you have a monster spawner. And then the nether warts, which can be a little easy to get if you have a fortune pickaxe on that. And then with these clerics, you do have the ability to get the enchanting bottles as their top tier item. Okay, so this is essentially where we have the exchange rate and where we have all of our precious resources. So with the redstone dust here and the iron from those iron crushers, and then of course with the jungle wood that we mentioned below, let me show you the last construction item that we need. This is a simple cobblestone / stone generator. You have your lava on top with the water flowing below it, and then your pistons that pushes this stuff out. So let me show you how this is done very quickly whenever you have the haste enchantment and a efficiency 5 pickaxe. So that was done very quickly. It takes a little bit longer with the cobblestone, but with the stone, you can trade this to the mason guys here. It is not the beginning trade item. You have to trade clay with them first. That might be a little bit difficult if you don't have access to the river or the ocean. But once you get the trading up, you're going to have the ability to trade away your andesite, your diorite, and your granite, which I've always never really liked. Once you trade that away, you get access to terracottas and then quartz itself. Okay, so let me finish up this tour here. And then over here we have the cartography tables. So this is the best way to trade your paper and get emeralds. Librarians are a little bit more expensive, and they do vary quite a bit. If you're into the TNT business, you can gather up a lot of sand and sell glass panes. But the most interesting item to trade with the cartographers are the ocean and the woodland maps. And that will show you where those mansions and temples are within your Minecraft world. They actually did a pretty good job in fixing that. There were a lot of bugs in that in the previous editions. Okay, so let me show you the librarians here below in this secure location. With the librarians, you're going to be trading basically books and paper to get access to some of their enchanted books as well as their name tags. They actually offer a lot of different trading opportunities. But with these librarians, they can be very expensive to get some of the higher tier items. So what we've done here is that we've attached these guys to boats, and then we've made it so that we do have access to some of the top tier trade items, some of the hardest enchantments to find. And of course, we have a soul sand elevator, which has become very popular with the 1.114 update here. Let me finish this up here with the melon farm using the relatively new observer block in the Java version. This can detect any changes in that stem, and then this will break open those melon blocks by using these pistons. Below that, we have a Minecraft cart with the hopper on top of that, powered along. Hopper's underneath some of those blocks there, and that feeds directly into these chests. Okay. So with all of these redstone farms, you're going to need a lot of construction materials. You're going to need your iron crushers to get your iron. You're going to need to get some redstone dust from mining or by using the exchange rate with the bankers. And then, of course, you're going to also need a bunch of wood. And then you're going to need a bunch of stone or cobblestone. So with most of these emeralds here, and with the iron blocks as well, you're going to have the ability to build the expensive beacon temple off in the distance. And that requires a lot of those iron blocks or emerald blocks to build. But that's pretty much it for the Minecraft video here. And thank you for watching, guys.